It's nice to be with you tonight. Tonight is our first Tat Shabbat of the season. So we have little ones that are going to be outside running around and singing, which will be really nice too. This is Cantor Laura Berman. Most of you probably know who she is. She's been with us this summer. We are going to begin on page 10. Hine matov umanayim, how nice it is, how good it is that we're all here together.
So this is a melody. It goes like this. I hope you try it with me. Even on la la la. Hine matov umanayim shevetachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevetachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevetachim gam yachad. So those are traditional words, but it's my understanding that here at Rodef, you have adopted Hine matov umanayim shevet kulam gam yachad. So this time I'll add that, and I'll remember it. Oh, you can't hear me?
We're working on non-gendered language.
Is that any better?
Shevet kulanu.
Hine matov umanayim shevet kulam gam yachad. 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 Last time. Hine matov umanayim shevet kulam gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet kulam gam yachad.
Turn to page 2. We invite Kathy and Julie Arnheim to the bima to light candles. Page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav.
Yitzivanu, Hadli, Ner, Shal.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, this one.
Shalom Alechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon,
Page 24.
Melech Malachei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchunil Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchunil Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchunil Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Turn now back to Psalm 95 on page 12, Kabbalat Shabbat. Kabbalat Shabbat is, the Psalms contain a lot of imagery about the earth, about the natural world. Asher Lo Hayam is what we're going to be singing next. It is the last two lines of the middle of the second paragraph. And it is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. That's what we'll be singing, Asher Lo Hayam.
We're going to try the melody first. You want to join in with the words? Asher Lo Hayam. But let's just start with the melody. Ya da 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 ya, ya da 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 da, 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 ya da da. Asher Lo Hayam. Asher Lo Hayam Vehu Asahu. Asher Lo Hayam Vehu Asahu. Ve'yavzevet Kadav Yatzaru. Ve'yavzevet Hayam Yatzaru. Asher Lo Hayam Vehu Asahu. Asher Lo Hayam Vehu Asahu.
So we go from the sea to the skies. Yismechu Hashamayim on page 13, the second paragraph at the bottom of the page of Psalm 96.
Yes, man. Ya da 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 da. Ya ma da 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 da. Ya da ya da da da. Ya da da da. Oh, there is? Okay. You know what? We can do it without. We can do without. Thank you. I'd rather know.
Trying to figure out
wanted
what
to
that
be
was.
pleasant. I didn't want you to join.
Yeah, try to figure out what that sound was.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out. Yismechu hashamayim v'takel haaretz yiram hayam umlo. 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 Feel better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Good.
Page 20. We welcome Shabbat in with light. We've welcomed the Shabbat messengers with Shalom Aleichem, and now we welcome in the Shabbat presence with Lecha Dodi on page 20. When we get to verse 9, after doing 1, 2, and 5, we'll rise, turn to the door, and welcome in the Shabbat presence.
Yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela, yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela, shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmi'anu el meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila, yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'asa b'machshavat tchila, yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela, hitorari, kiva orechu miori, uri, shir daberi kevod Adonai, halayich nigla, yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Bohi v'shalom ateret balagam b'simcha u'v'tzohala, toch emunei am segula, bohi chala, yailalai lecha dodi, yailalai likrat kala, yailalai b'nei Shabbat nekabela, yailalai lecha dodi, Yailelai likrat kala, Yailelai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please take a moment to wish one another Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself if you're new, if you haven't met someone before.
No, it's fine. No.
Continue on page 22 with Sadiqa Tamar. This is from Psalm 92, the indented part, towards the bottom of the page. Sadiqa Tamar. Right, just a little like a deep palm.
Tzadika Tamar Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadika Tamar Yifrach. Tzadika Tamar Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadika Tamar Yifrach. Ke'eres balvanon yizke, Ke'eres balvanon yizke, Ke'eres balvanon yizke. Ke'eres balvanon yizke, Ke'eres balvanon yizke, Ke'eres balvanon yizke.
On page 26, Chetzi Kaddish.
Yikada v'yitkada shmei rabba.
Amen.
Yelamad yivarachrote v'yamlich malchute b'chayecho v'yomecho u'v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman kariv yimeru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Ome'amaya Yitzbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach yitbar v'turman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei l'kudesha
Brichu
v'yichulela min kol barchata v'shirata
Tushbechata V'nechamata Ta'amiran B'yama.
v'yimeru. Amen.
Please rise in body or spirit as you're able for Baruch, page 28.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshana itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. Achai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot משפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated and we continue on page 36.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. On page 41. Sing the song of all of us joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Michamocha.
We can make that a little higher for everybody. Michamocha, Vayim Adonai, Michamocha, Nedar HaKodesh, Nora, Dilot, Oseh, Velech, Nora, Dilot, Oseh, Velech, Malechutecha, Reuvanecha, Bokei Ayam, Lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli, Anu, Ve'amru, Zeli, Anu, Ve'amru, Adonai Imloch, Le'olam Va'ed, Adonai Imloch, Le'olam Va'ed. V'ne'mar, Kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Go'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Continuing on page 42 with Hashkivenu.
Just a moment. There it is. No. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Amen.
Grant that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our sovereign. This is our nighttime prayer. We ask God to spread over us a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. We're thinking about when this was written, and it was very dark at night, and it was frightening. It's still frightening sometimes at night. We feel alone, or we feel afraid, or we feel sick. And so we ask God to spread over us a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. And so we ask that for all of us as the day turns to evening. And we think especially of those among us who are in need of healing of body or spirit, who need a little extra Sukkot Shalom, a little extra of that blessing or that blanket or shelter of peace. So tonight we hold in our hearts Michael Baseman, Batya Bat Yosefa Vashimon, Les Berkowitz, Alice Botkin, Jennifer Burnau, Dina Dimas, Joanne DeWitt, Ann Fay, Irit Bat Shana Freda, Ken Franklin, Ari Gegel, David Glazer, Aryaman Halalka, David Mordechai HaKohen, Naum Kaplan, Sylvia Kasparowski, Al Camper, Todd Cart, Lee Kramer, Susan Lother, Hinda Sarah Bat Chana Pearl, Sophie Matiash, Joanne Mandel, Ken Markison, Beatrice Jean B.G. Morrison, Joanne Newman, Lev Podorovsky, Jonathan Robeson, Jason Roney, Oliver Scheibel, Bill Stein, Jackie Student, Helen Marie Tyree, David Wallach, Alan Wolk. Other names for Misha Baruch tonight for healing?
Baruch atah Adonai Aporei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'akol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'akol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Join me. Baruch atah Adonai Borei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael.
Shift gears a little bit, turning to page 44, Vishamru at the top of the page, and we remember our covenant with God. We remember Shabbat as a piece of that covenant for all time between ourselves and God.
Vishameru v'nei Yisrael et Hashem Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ו6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש.
We turn now to the tefillah with the opening meditation on page 46. Please rise and bow to your spirit as you are able.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחלקי אתה, מחלקי החיים בחסד. מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
May be seated, and we continue with tefillah on our own, either the words in the book or following the directions of our own heart through page 62.
Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
In the Hebrew calendar, this Shabbat brings us to the month of Elul, which is the month before Tishrei, that means that we have 30 days until the new year begins. So Elul is considered, Rosh Chodesh Elul, the beginning of Elul, is considered the beginning of the Tshuva journey. Tshuva is what Elul calls us to begin. Tshuva meaning not so much repentance, as though we sometimes quickly translate it as repentance. It's really much more closer in meaning to turning or returning, coming closer to our essence, who we would like to be. This process of tshuva means setting high but not impossible standards for ourselves, high but not impossible, and then finding ways to meet our goals and so we can put our best selves out there into the world. Also to relieve some of the dissonance that we have within ourselves when we're not exactly who we want to be yet, or again, or somehow we've moved away from that. It's a way for us to square that again. But Elul is not a harsh rebuke. Elul is the airlines. Elul is not, what's wrong with you? Some of you, when I just said that, what's wrong with you, heard it as if it came from someone else, like a parent, or maybe a teacher, or another authority figure. While we rarely forget this kind of question or some kind of harsh criticism like that, it is actually unlikely to motivate us to do or to be better. Some of you heard, what's wrong with you, as if it came from within. A demanding and critical self, a self that is constantly chiding. Why didn't I use my time better this year? Why didn't I accomplish this? Why didn't I accomplish that? Why am I still in the same place, working on the same things? Again, not particularly motivating. Elul is neither of those voices, thank God. Rather, Elul comes from a place of love and compassion. Our rabbinic sages taught that the letters in the word Elul make an acronym for a phrase in the Song of Songs. So ani, an aleph, ani, I, lidodi, vidodi li. I, my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. The beloved in this case is God, a parental figure in this case, who encourages us with love and compassion to do tshuva, to return. So Elul is about love and about compassion and about a kind and gentle guidance. In fact, the High Holidays puts an emphasis on God as Avinu. We have many, many names to call God, but Avinu, our father, our parent, that reminds us that the call to return is not a castigation or a critique of everything we say and everything we do. Avinu is the authority figure who wants the best for us, who is understanding and forgiving when we make mistakes, who encourages us, who lifts us up. And that could be ourselves as well, right? To want the best for ourselves, We are understanding and forgiving when we make mistakes. We encourage ourselves, who lift ourselves up. So all that is gentle and compassionate and loving and kind. In contrast, because there always has to be a contrast, the Torah portions for these weeks can appear as rigid and grim. This week's Torah portion, Re'eh, begins, Re'eh, see, this day I set before you blessing and curse. Blessing if you obey the commandments of the eternal your God that I enjoin upon you this day, and curse if you do not obey the commandments of the eternal your God, but turn away from the path that I enjoin you upon this day. So blessing if you obey, and curse for disobedience. Is it a warning? It sounds harsh, very black and white, intimidating, this or that. But I, of course, suggest that we dig a little deeper. The verse that we'll focus on is Re'eh, see, I put before you this day a blessing and a curse. Let's just leave the rest. The first word, Re'eh, see, is not a regular, common, everyday seeing. Not just like our eyesight, not just what you would just say, see this here. It's a different kind of seeing. Re'eh is looking closely at how our choices might play out, a kind of seeing into the future, kind of. Re'eh seeing is the realization and acceptance that we have practical choices that can imbue us with a sense of either blessing or curse, and that these choices can have an impact on the world around us. Our choices have an impact for good or for not good. We're to see both capacity and consequence, our choices and the impact of those choices. Re'eh seeing is an invitation to make good choices, as you may have heard parents remind their children, or maybe teachers say that, make good choices. In his remarkable book, This is Real and You Are Completely Unprepared, The Days of Awe as a Journey of Transformation. Some of you may have read that book last year with Rabbi Friedman. It's called This is Real and You Are Completely Unprepared. The author is Rabbi Alan Lew, the late Rabbi Alan Lew. He stresses in this book that we need not arrive at Rosh Hashanah unprepared. He titles it, You Are Totally Unprepared, right? But the whole idea of the book is so that we don't get to Rosh Hashanah unprepared. And in this book, he talks about Elul as our 30-day opportunity to be prepared, to get ourselves ready. This is his teaching on Re'eh, this week's Torah portion. He says, hold on a minute, look, pay attention to your life. Every moment is an opportunity. Every moment contains the potential for blessing or curse. Everything depends on Re'eh, the first word of the portion. Everything depends upon seeing our lives with clarity, upon seeing the potential blessing in each moment, as well as the potential curse, choosing the former, forswearing the latter. The month of Elul is an invitation to devote serious and loving attention to bringing our lives into focus. This is a month in which we might clarify the distinction between the will of God, if you understand it that way, or the will of being our best selves, putting who we can be the best, and our own willfulness, to identify that in us which seeks good, and that's what pulls us to the harmful. When I started to write the word harmful, I thought, what other words could I use? And I thought of dangerous, aggressive, or offensive. There's lots and lots of ways to be negatively distracted from the good. Elul is an invitation to find out who we are, to figure out who we are, to decide who we are, and then to decide how to get there, to decide where we're going. Elul gives us 30 days to prepare. Rabbi Laketz and I are teaching sessions throughout Elul that we hope will inspire you and give you tools with which to do the work of tshuva. These will be on Shabbat mornings during Torah study, beginning next week when we begin a focus on Psalm 27, which is traditionally recited throughout Elul. And then there'll be a 3-part series on Tuesday evenings, beginning September 6th. The High Holy Day website has all the information that you need on these sessions, which we will be doing in person, and it'll also be simultaneously online. Additionally, you might want to subscribe to a daily Elul offering by email. I would recommend Craig Taubman's Jewels of Elul, but there are so many others out there. And if you have some that you come upon and you'd like to share with me, we can put those out on Facebook or on our website. Different ways for you to have a little bit of inspiration every day to remind ourselves to be kind, to do this work. It's important work. Whatever you choose to do, please be loving and compassionate with yourself. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We turn now to Aleinu, page 282, and please rise as you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים, משתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל. ושכינתו זו, וגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, השמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, ונאמר אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Kaddish is on page 294. I invite you to remain standing if you are able. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and all those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died within the last 30 days of the Shloshim period: Ira Altshuler, Morton Levine, Linda Selig, John Spear. We also remember those who died at this season years past, whose yahrzeit we observe on the Shabbat: Fred Alexander, Muriel Barnaker, Hyman Berman, Rose Einstas, Elizabeth Goldstein, Harold Gondelman, Samuel Green, Herman Ipp, Helen Johnson, Elaine L. Kaufman, Jerry Lebovitz, Lily Lefkowitz, Hyman Murko, Perry E. Morrison, Celia Oakes, Bertha Prezant, Kenneth Prober, Marcia Robbins Danovitz, M. Allen Silberman, Nora Solomon, Sanders Stewart, Harriet Weitzman. Other names for Kaddish for tonight?
Jacob Brody. Lyndon Seller.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chaychon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol bet Yisrael, b'galau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasa, v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'ilah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shmaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
In just a moment, we'll conclude the service with Kiddush and Motzi. That's on page 5. Kiddush is on page 5. We thank Luke upstairs for our audio and visual. Thank you, Cantor Berman. Thank you all for being here, Arnheim women, for lighting Shabbat candles. A couple of announcements. The Biblical Botanical Garden annual mum sale is back. We can support the garden and its wonderful programming by ordering some mums for the fall. Orders are due by September 5th, and pickup is Sunday, September 18th in the parking lot between 10 and 2. You can place your order via the Shalomogram on Monday. There'll be a link in the Monday Shalomogram, and you can just click on there and you can order your mums. Our High Holy Day website is live, and as I suggested before, there's information there about what we'll be doing on the holidays as well as leading up to the high holidays. It's everything you need, and we'll help you take a look at that. If you have questions, you can call Kristen Karsh, our Director of Membership. And finally, on Labor Day, Monday, September 5th, our building will be closed, but that's not for another week, right? That's not this week. That's a week from now. So those are the announcements. And we'll look forward to seeing you briefly after services for Oneg Shabbat, and I will be cutting some challah, so you can come up and get a piece of that too.
Kiddush.
Yep.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri agafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'ratzon l'inchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim,
Kivanu v'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim.
V'shabbat kadshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, v'kadesh ha-Shabbat. Chaim.
Chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.